film was autobiographical to some extent. Do you want to talk about the inspiration and things along those lines? Which is probably a standard question everybody asks you.
Yeah, it's obviously everyone says it's autobiographical. It's not about me because, like, I'm not a guitarist. My parents are nothing like that. But I mean, in a way, it's autobiographical in that the guy who plays Ronnie is very much like his character and is in a very similar situation. You know, he plays electric music and other such things. And the guy who plays Nicky has very similar kind of personality traits. But again, they're real people, they're different people in real life. But it was more just looking at people around me that I knew, I'd seen at the time, and kind of an amalgamation of a whole load of characters I'd known along the way and putting them together into one main character.
I noticed the father was played by Michael Irving. Is that any relation to you?
That's my dad, yeah.
There you go. Which kind of led to the autobiographical question, but not in film. Doesn't always have to be that way.
He's nothing like that in real life, no. He reads a lot, but that's about as far as it goes.
Has he been an actor for long?
Yeah, he is. But he more kind of theatre stuff, really, in London. So I've used him before in the past because he's free, you know.
Is that your impetus for getting into film? Was your father?
Sorry?
Was your father the reason you got into film? Was that part of it?
Maybe. I remember when I was a kid, because my parents broke up and my mum lived. Does this sound really loud? It sounds like I'm really, really loud. You are? I sound great. I'm great. When I was a kid, my dad lived in London and he went to do theatre stuff, and that's where you've really got to be, you know, it's like, I don't know, being in New York or something in America. And my mum lived up in a place called Sheffield where I grew up. So whenever I'd go to see him, often he'd be in plays, so he'd be busy, you know, for a whole evening doing a play, and I could either sit and wait in the green room, which is pretty boring, or watch the plays, and often they were Shakespearean plays, so that's also pretty boring. You know, once you've seen Macbeth 10 times, you're like, oof, okay, yeah. So he knew that I was obsessed with films, so he would often, we had this little scam going, we figured out how we do. You go to the cinema, I shouldn't say this because obviously I don't want to upset cinema chains, but this was my scam and we had when I was a kid. So first of all, like in England, you can't go see a movie unless you're whatever the age category is. I think it's similar in America, so like the film's 15 or 18 or even like PG, some such stuff, yeah. And so what he'd do is he'd sneak me in, he'd buy me a ticket for the wrong film, or he'd buy me a ticket for that film and sneak me in. And then, if it was a big multiplex, we'd look up the listings on it and find out what movies are on, and we'd go and say, what screen is this? And we just really want to know what screen this is in. Find out what all the screenings are, what the movies are, and I could sit and watch, 3 movies in a row, and just walk from screen to screen to screen, So he certainly didn't discourage my avid film going, but I don't know, I've always...
We don't do that in America.
Yeah, I guess it's kind of like stealing a film, which is bad, so I shouldn't have done it, but
it's pretty common, I'm sure. Like you said, music played a very important part in this film. How did Joe get involved? How did you...
So Joe and I knew each other from being quite young, actually, from like school, and we were playing in bands and things together. So we knew about this kind of world and musicians and wannabe musicians and all the rest. So as we kind of formed the character and decided he would be this musician, we kind of came up with the idea that he should have these songs that he writes in the film that kind of express very clumsily how he feels and where he is and his mental state and everything. And then those can then be kind of morphed into the score of the movie. Do you want to say something?
Please. Yeah.
Is mine louder or quieter?
No, it's on.
That's good.
Sing something for us. Sing a Beatles tune.
Sing it.
I'm going to shoot the guy myself.
To what?
I'm not going to sing. At the end, Joe's going to sing.
Yeah, the idea was that Rob Art was going to be this musician who was kind of exploring his feelings through music, and then we came up with this idea of having an arc. So all the incidental music kind of it's essentially just extensions of his songs. So the melodies that you hear in the background in scenes are essentially the same as the tracks that he plays and sings. So we wanted even though the songs are kind of primitive and clumsy, we wanted to have distinctive melodies that would open out into more realised kind of compositions.
You wrote all the music for the film?
Well, I mean, the stuff in Ronnie's flat is written by Johnny White, who plays Ronnie, so that was kind of quite a distinct section of the film.
So it's all original?
It's all original,
okay.
Bar obviously the third party with the roaches and the various third party pieces of love. And
so when you cast Pattinson, did you look for somebody who was an artist at the time, a singer? Because I know that's where I've read some stuff. I think that's where he actually came from. Was he was doing musical stuff before he ever got into the film?
Well,
No.
when I was doing casting for a long time to try and find the right person, and when he turned up, according to him, he was pretty much thinking of giving up acting because he wasn't. He did obviously the Harry Potter movie, and then after that he was getting offered those kind of roles, and I think he wanted to do something a bit more real, I guess. And so he said he'd pretty much given up on acting. He was going to give up, maybe go do music and things like this. And then obviously we cast him, and he carried on. But yeah, he kind of underplayed how much he could play the instrument because he kind of knew I wanted someone that was a bad musician. So he sort of said, "Oh, I can barely play, I can barely play."
It's a tough thing to do, though.
When you're good to play bad?
He's good, yeah. Playing bad and making it seem realistic is tough when you're decent, and he was a good guitarist and a good singer, so he pulled it off, I think.
He has a real presence, don't you think? I mean, it's not surprising that he would reach the level that he's reached, but he comes across really well on film.
There was something about him. There was a whole load of factors. One was that he reminded me of people I knew. One was that he just understood the character and worked well. I felt like he had the right look, like he could play it just right, so he could believable. He's kind of a bit geeky, but at the same time, he's kind of good looking at the same time. He was the right person for that role, and then I just had a feeling he would do well. And I knew he already had quite a big following. He had websites up for him, and people were really into it and stuff. And I thought this was the right guy.
So the film was shot how long ago? I know you just finished it last year, but how long ago did you actually shoot it?
So it's been about a year. So it premiered Sundance in January 2008, and then we finished it around about the same time, like February, March 2007. So that's when we was to shot it, about February, March 2007.
And you have a number of different screenings after this one to go to?
That's right, we've got screenings coming up. So we've got Orlando tomorrow. Is it tomorrow?
Yeah, it is.
We're going to Orlando tomorrow anyway, so I think it's tomorrow. And then we've got a whole load of different festival screenings as well. And we've got a big screening in Chicago, which should be fun. And for those screenings, we've got the guy who plays Nicky, Mike, he's coming out, and the guy who plays Ronnie, Johnny, so it'll be all four of us.
And you guys flew in from London today?
I've been in LA for a while.
Oh, LA.
Joe came out for Vegas.
Oh, Vegas. It's fun, huh?
Yeah,
it's a disgusting place.
It really is.
We agree.
You agree? I don't know why anyone would like Vegas. I really don't. Okay, do we have some questions? I could keep asking questions all night, but do we have somebody in the audience that wants to ask a question? Come on, be brave.
What's your budget?
I can't tell you.
Oh,
The reason I can't tell you, sorry, it sounds like I don't care, I tell you, I'm proud of the fact we made it for so little money, and we did make it for very, very little money, but we're still selling it to different territories over the world. So if you're trying to do a deal with someone and then know how much you actually spent, it's kind of like, oops, So originally people would say, oh, it's this, blah, 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 and then the producers had, had a little word with me and said, shut up.
That's my line.
But the film was picked up by IFC.
I've seen the States, yeah, and it's coming out on video on demand at the end of April, about the 29th of April. Yeah. So if you want to see it again, you can see it there. And then it comes out in England shortly afterwards, and the DVD comes out in England, and then I guess shortly afterwards the DVD will come out in America and so on. And I think it's coming out in Italy soon as well, and France and some other places. So we're getting it sold now, it's good.
Are you happy with the film?
Yeah.
Are you?
No,
I
I
mean,
hate it.
that's actually not. It's
Just
not.
every, I wake up with tears